Howdy guys, lovely to see you all again. I'm on a bit of an old Megadeth binge and I decided to look at some of the stuff of Euthanasia. So today we're going to be looking at the solo from Train of Consequences. Let's take a look. Alright guys, before we get too excited, we just got to talk about the tuning for this particular Megadeth song. We're in E flat standard, which goes E flat, A flat, D flat, G flat, B flat, and another E flat. So get yourself in tune and we'll get started. Alright guys, let's take a look at the first section. Keep in mind that we're going to be playing most of this solo around the first position of the E minor pentatonic. So I'm starting off with 5 hammer-ons in a row with pull-offs in between from 12 to 15 on the second string. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. At the end of that, big sexy bend from 15. At the end of that, I'm going to work down this cheeky little lick. I'm going to play 12 of the first string, pull off 15, 12 of the second, and then do another sexy bend from 15 of the second string. This is what we should have so far. Hopefully that's all making sense. I'm going to bring that bend down. You can sort of hit it on the way down or just hit it at the bottom. It doesn't really matter. I'm playing 15 of the second string. Then I want to play 12 of the first string and then do a pull off from 14 to 12 on the second string. It's kind of using a cheeky Dorian note, which is actually outside of the pentatonic. At the end of that, let's go through that lick. I'm going to do a bend up and back on 14 of the third string, pulling off to 12. So we've got... Then I go back to 14. At the end of that, I've got 2 pull-offs in a row. I'm playing 14, 12 on the third and fourth string. And at the end of that, I slide from 12 to 14 with my pointer. So we're going to go. Let's have a look at what we've got thus far from the start before I overload you with information, and then we'll have a look at the last chunk. So we've got... Hopefully that's making sense. Then I work into this phrase. Let's slow that down. I'm playing 12 of the fourth string, and then I'm doing a grace note slide from 14 to 12 on the fifth, then pulling off to 10. Then I'm going to just do 12, 10 as a regular pull off on the same string. So back to back. After that, I'm going to do a bend from 12 of the fifth string and then pull off to 10 again. And then that's going to resolve on 12 of the sixth string. So let's have a look at that whole, all of that most recent phrase. Hopefully that's all making sense. Let's do the whole section again relatively slowly, and then we'll do it again even slower with some tabs. One more time with some tabs. Alright guys, let's have a look at the second section. I'm going to start off on 3rd fret of the second string, but I'm also going to play open on the first string as well. So it's going to kind of have a messy, kind of bluesy Stevie Ray Vaughan kind of sound to it. Let's slow this down. I'm going to start with that slide from 3 to 5 with that open note on the first string. It's going to have a bit of a gallop to it. So I slide and I go 1, 2, 3, and then I go back to 3 and then do the same thing. So I've got only 3 strums there and then I go. So on the next 2 frets, I'm playing 5 of the second string and 8 of the second string as well. With those open notes in between, I'm just doing straight groups of 4/16ths or 4 semiquavers. So we've got, hopefully that's making sense. Okay, then I work into this. What I'm doing here is I'm playing 10 of the second string and open on the first, and then I'm adding in a cheeky 10 on the first string as well. We're gonna do that 3 times. You just do it with alternate picking if you want to, just catching that first string on the backstroke. At the end of that, after that, I'm working into just a cheeky pentatonic lick. So I've got this. Let's slow that down. I'm doing a bend, 15 of the second, then bring it down to a regular 15 and then hitting 12. At the end of that, I'm playing 15, 14, 12, and then giving that 12 some sexy vibrato. If you need to shoot your elbow out like a chicken, do it. All right, let's have a look at what we've got thus far, and we'll add the last lick to it as well. Okay, then I work into this phrase. All right, so the start of that's gonna have the same kind of legato triplet idea 2 times in a row. Let's slow that down. I'm playing 12, 14, 15 on the third string, legato, then I play 12 of the second string, and then I'm gonna play 15, 14 on the third string. And that's gonna be 2 triplets, creating a group of 6, and we're gonna do that group of 6 notes 2 times in a row. Hopefully that's making sense. And then I go, let's slow that down. I'm playing 12 of the third into 14 of the fourth, and then I want to do a bend on 14 of the third. And I'm going to do exactly the same thing again, but without the bend on the 14. So we've got, hopefully that's all making sense. And then I'm just going to add a cheeky 12 on the third string at the end of that. So let's go from that weird bendy lick. To finish off the section that leads into the last group, I'm going to do a regular 14 and then a bend. And that 14 bend is going to lead into section 3. So keep that in mind. We will use that at the start of the next section. So we've got from just the most recent chunk now. That's going to lead into the next chunk. Let's go right back to the start of the section, play the whole thing relatively slowly, and then again, even slower with some tabs. One more time with some tabs. All right, guys, last section. This is quite action-packed, so be patient with it. We're going to start off with this lick. It's exactly the same thing 2 times in a row. I'm going to bend 14 of the third string and then play 12, 15 on the second. And then a very similar start, a 14 bend, but then I'm using a flat finger on 12 of the second and the first string. All together, we're going to do that whole phrase 2 times in a row. Hopefully that's making sense. Then the last little thing I do before it goes into the crazy part, very similar to what we had at the start, but I'm just adding in a 4th note to that. So I'm bending 14 again, playing 12, 15 on the second, and then resolving to just a regular 14 on the third string. All together. Hopefully that's all making sense. Then we work into this phrase. It's exactly the same thing twice. I'm doing a hammer on from 12 to 15 on the second string and then jumping to 12 of the first. Then adding the pull off from 15 to 12 on the second and resolving to 14 of the third. So all together. And we're going to do that exact same phrase 2 times in a row. Hopefully that's making sense. Then I work into this. So what I've got there is a pull off from 15 to 4, sorry, it's a bend at the start, isn't it? A big bend on 15 of the first string, and then I'm pulling off 15 to 14. At the end of that, regular 15 with some sexy vibrato. So we're going to go. Let's have a look what we've got from the start of the section, then we'll work through that delicious last arpeggio. Hopefully that's all making sense. The next thing that we do is going to be kind of based around an E minor arpeggio, but we're going to change a couple of notes up in there. So we're going to work through this. So the start of that, I'm going to be from 19 of the 5th string, and then I'm going to play 16, 17 on the 4th. Okay, from that point, I'm going to play 16 of the 3rd, and all we've done is basically use a triad arpeggio, but I've just added in that little extra note, which would be the regular 2nd on the 16 of the 4th string. So I've got, from that point, I'm going to play 17 to 19 on the 2nd. From that point, I'm going to do a hammer-on pull-off going 15, 17, 15 on the 1st string, and then jumping to 19 of the 2nd. At the end of that, back to 15 again. Let's have a look at what we've got thus far, nice and slow. And then from that next point, very similar phrasing. I'm playing 17, 19, 17 as a hammer-on pull-off, jumping to 20 of the 2nd string, then back down to 17 of the 1st. So let's add that into the arpeggio now. At the end of that, what I'm finishing off is by playing 19, 20, and then 22 on the 1st string, and then adding in sexy bend. So let's try and do that whole final arpeggio into that big bend, and then we'll take it right back to the start of the section. Hopefully that's all making sense. Let's go right back to the start of the section now. One more time with some tabs. And that was the solo from Train of Consequences by Megadeth. Hope you guys enjoyed that. Please like and subscribe if you haven't already, and please click the links in the description box to my modal Udemy course, my Patreon, and please like me on Facebook. Every little bit helps. I'll catch you guys all very soon.